Hello, my people. It is good to be here again, reaching out to you live from the Village Boy Academy. I am the Village Boy. Thank you for all those who have subscribed to our channel, those who have watched, those who have shared with their friends. Thank you so very much. Thank you for those who have liked our posts, our video, and those who have made comments. And thank you for those who also reached out to us behind the scene. We all appreciate your contribution very much. Thank you. Let us continue to do this together so that we can achieve the synergy in building long-lasting businesses, so that we can achieve what the accountant call the going concern in our businesses. By the way, going concern is an idea that the business will outlive its owner, or a business we go into, will still be operating, will still be existing into the foreseeable future. I know we are not going too deep into that today. Like I promised in the last video, I want to talk more about cost reduction mechanism today. How can you reduce your cost without, injuring your business or operations? So many professionals favor this issue of cost cutting or cost elimination. In order to, especially when they think that their bottom line, as I explained in the last video, which is your profit after tax, when they feel threatened that the bottom line is shrinking, so the next thing they do is to embark on massive cost cutting. Some they eliminate some services altogether or some processes altogether. For instance, it's not uncommon for big companies when when their profit is nosediving, it's not uncommon for them to suspend training for employees without minding the beneficial effect of training their workforce. So they just cancel that, or they cancel so many other benefits for the employees, so that they can reduce the cost at the end of the day. But I think that there are more humane, there are more decent way of cost reduction. So those are the things that I favor. I favor cost reduction over cost cutting or cost elimination. And as we proceed, you will see why I seem to favor that trajectory. In the last episode, I've told us our cost elements, which are fixed costs, semi-variable costs, and variable costs. In terms of cost reduction, we don't really draw the line between these three elements. We rather categorize our costs in two broad categories this time around, and those categories are what I will call controllable costs and uncontrollable costs. For simple definition, controllable costs are those costs that are within the realm of the entrepreneur, of the business owner to control, which means you can do something about it. You can reduce it, you can increase it, you can keep it at a certain level, you can keep it constant or whatever. So those are the controllable costs. I fully leverage for those who are not professional, either I'm talking costs or expenses. I'm actually be meaning the same thing or using them interchangeably. Though I prefer to use the word cost rather than expenses. So, but in case they are basically no much differences between the two of them. So we also have the uncontrollable cost, which means that this is beyond your control. It's not within your power. It's not within your ability to do anything about it. So you have to just accept it. Maybe the best you can do with uncontrollable cost is that you reduce your level of exposure to that kind of cost. Other than that, there's little or nothing you can do about it. Now, talking about uncontrollable costs, let me take for instance, you rent a shop from a landlord and he's charging you X amount of money for a month, for a year, or whatever the rent. So even if you are not going to fully utilize that space, it's no longer the problem of the landlord. So the landlord will collect his money. So it is up to you to utilize it to its maximum, or you still pay. So that the cost of rent is beyond your control. Yeah, sometimes you may negotiate for price and all that, but quite often it doesn't work. So it does become rent for that purpose becomes an uncontrollable expense for you. And of course, just like when you go to supermarkets to pick an item, you can't argue. You can't bargain for price reduction. You have to pay for what is labeled. The label on the product you are buying, you are picking on the shelf in the supermarket. So to that extent, whatever you buy in the supermarket, constitutes an uncontrollable cost to you. You can do nothing about it, especially if it is part of your input. So, but there are other costs that are within your control, and you can find a way of reducing it. But I must also give a sign of caution here. When you are reducing costs, make sure you are not reducing quality. Um, some businesses, in an attempt to reduce costs, they reduce the quality of their product. They just simply cut off certain things from it. It is often said a customer that you lose because of bad quality, you may not likely gain that customer back. So we should be very mindful of this, of not reducing the quality because you want to reduce cost. So what can you do? You may ask, what can you do to reduce cost? There are many ways you can reduce your controllable costs. For instance, you may seek alternatives really for your input. Um, Again, I must say here that you may look for a cheaper alternative. That something is cheaper doesn't mean it's of less quality. That is just the important here is to have the knowledge. For instance, adequate knowledge of a market, may give you an insight, and now you can source the same quality, higher quality of material or product, for a lesser amount. Yes, there are times you pay less for more quality, or you pay less for the same quality. But if you don't have the knowledge of the market, so you may not be able to achieve this. So as a business owner, you must have adequate and sufficient knowledge about the particular business you do. So that is very, 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 very important. So having good knowledge, we know of what you can use. In the economy, we talk about alternatives. So okay, if I use this, can it give me the same result or better result or equal result? Again, the warning here is that whatever alternative you are providing, it should not be such that it will lower your quality of product or your quality of service. So the alternative is okay, you are getting the same quality, but you are getting it at a fairly lower price. That will automatically or significantly lower your cost of production or your cost of sales, as I mentioned the other time. Another thing you can do is by bulk purchase. So when you buy in bulk, when you buy in bulk, you quite often you enjoy what you call a quantity discount or volume discount. You buy a volume, so you enjoy discount. And discount, whatever discount you enjoy, it reduces your cost. And when your cost is reduced, your bottom line goes up. First, your gross profit goes up, and if other expenses also go down, then your net profit, your profit after tax, they all go up. So your bottom line increases. So rather than shrinking. So when you do bulk purchase, there are also flip side of bulk purchase. First, you must have adequate storage facility before you can do bulk purchase. Second, you must ensure that what you are buying in bulk, they are not something that could perish before you use them. For instance, if you are buying a product that shelf life is about 2 weeks, and you buy the quantity that you will use for 4 weeks, so there is every possibility that after 2 weeks, half of what you have bought may go bad. And if you do that, there is no sense in that. And of course, you must also be able to monitor what you buy in bulk. If what you buy in bulk is susceptible, is open to stealing by employees or by anybody, then the essence of buying bulk, become defeated. So you must, as buying bulk can, and you some reduction in prices, reduction in cost. It could also, if you don't manage it very well, it could also boomerang for you. It could be stolen, it could go bad, it could go, I mean, obsolete, so or damage or whatever. So you must be mindful of the storage facility, the weather condition that is suitable for the product, the the vulnerability to stealing and all that. So that is one thing you have to be mindful when you are thinking of buying in bulk. But buying in bulk is always advantageous. Even buying in bulk, sometimes I even save you transport cost. For instance, the other time I was mentioning that okay, your cost of sale includes what you buy your cost of buying the input for the product or service and the means of transportation. If you go to market like twice in a week to buy your raw material, as against when you just buy for a whole month, so you might be saving money from transportation, and that's money you save there. Reduces your cost, and when your cost is reduced, your bottom line goes up. It's as simple as that. Of course, another thing you can use, reducing your cost, like when you benefit from paying in time. So some company grant discount for prompt payment. So like okay, they say uh, 15 days credit, 10 days 2%. Meaning that okay, I'm granting you 15 days of credit facility, to buy for the goods I'm supplying you or you are buying from me. But if you can pay within 10 days, I will give you the 2% discount. That 2% discount, I mean, represent a kind of saving. But the idea is like it also represents cost reduction because your cost of sale will be reduced by that amount of discount you are achieving because you paid on time. So and that saving, whatever saving you make from your cost reduction, goes straight directly to boost your bottom line. And of course, you know, uh, keeping the issue of cash flow constant when you don't spend recklessly. Last video I explained that okay, you are not spending from your gross profit, because that's your bottom line. I believe by now we all understand the cost of bottom line. So whatever you gain in terms of cost reduction, it is a benefit. It expands or it increases your bottom line, and that is very, very, very important. Another way whereby you can reduce costs is by reducing or eliminating wastages. In production process, most of the time, when the process is new, the yield you know, let's say per bag of flour by a baker may not be you know, as high as when they begin to, as when they have been doing this over and over again. Also, when you have new hands, new employees, and during that process of training, that is what we call learning curve. Before you then they master the system, the yield might be a bit reduced. But as they master the system, they master the process, you discover that the yield begins to increase, and the more yield you have, the less is the cost per unit. So that's how it works. So when you when your productivity increases, definitely your cost per unit reduces. And when your cost reduces, any reduction in your cost increases your bottom line. So that is very, very important. Of course, you also can reduce cost by better processing. You develop better processes to either to deliver good or do to produce. So and or innovation, which is a kind of innovation too. So the more you achieve this, the better I mean, the lesser the cost of production will be. I mean that is why you see most big organizations they have a whole department for research and development, R&D department. What do they do to innovate, to find better ways of doing the same thing? So, and that better ways may culminate, in cost reduction. And when you achieve cost reduction, you are better in for it. And of course, you also have to reduce theft by monitoring. Most of the overhead, which is another named for costing for cost. It's become heavy because employees are stealing the product. Even sometimes, not necessarily the final product, they may be even stealing the raw materials, depending on the industry you are operating. There was a video that of a local poultry farmer, who saw his staff burying some eggs, you know, in the sand, with the view that when they close from work, they will go there and they will extract it and take it home. So the revenue that should have come from such the normal sales of such eggs, to help, reduce increase the gross profit, will be lost. And when it is lost, it means the cost per the one that the owner of the farm is selling, the cost per an egg will increase, because the overall cost will be shared among the number of eggs that the owner is able to sell. So the one that the employees or staff have stolen will not count. So, and because when you are calculating the cost per an egg, you talk about the feed and other things that are input for the chicken that lay, the eggs, to produce the egg. So when they are part of it are stolen, that part that is stolen, you know, reduces revenue. Also, it increases the shareable cost among the one that are declared. So, and of course, we do know that sometimes also one of the deal with one employee is like, business owners for is like, when you are finding challenges, when you are facing reduction in your bottom line, in your profit, it is not the time to take the toll on the employees. Sometimes some people convert the employees from permanent staff to casual staff. Of course, most of this can lead to, lack of morality to steal. They say, okay, the guy is not taking care of us, so why are we not going to steal? Of course, there is a negative part of greed. This basic people, no matter what you do for them, they will still steal. But that is almost negligible. In most cases, when you treat your employees very well, the incidences of stealing might actually reduce. So when you are too harsh on the employees, they don't care. They can't, even when they cannot steal, they can waste the process. They can waste, your materials and all that, because they don't have time, they don't have ability to steal. Especially if you are putting some control measures in place. But when you are mindful of all these things, okay, you pay your employee very well, you have a good monitoring system, good enough for now in this time, in this age. Most businesses have understood the need to install CCTV so that they can monitor the the in and out of their products, so that undue stealing is reduced to the barest minimum. So when you have controllable expenses, even some uncontrollable costs, you can have a way of making them to be bit controllable, partly controllable. For instance, if you rent a factory and you are using 30 to 40% of the capacity, and you are still paying for the whole factory, in order to reduce your cost, you can say, okay, why don't I sublet part of this factory that is idle? So when you convert the idle capacity to subletting, at the end of the day, the cost to your own production is reduced, by that amount, for what you gain from subletting the product, except in a situation where there is a clause, by the landlord that you cannot sublet. But even I don't believe that such clause will exist. But the worst thing that will happen is that the landlord will say you must obtain permission before you can sublet, and that should be okay. That should not create so much problem for you. To ask your landlord, okay, I want to sublet part of the factory, I'll be responsible for so many things. And of course, by the time you sublet, you'll be sharing other costs with the co-tenant, as it were. You'll be sharing your electricity, you'll be sharing your security, you'll be sharing maybe water bill, other things. So, and all things that you share with the guy you sublet to will help you to reduce your own cost, and therefore the price for unit of what you you produce will reduce, and whatever reduction you are getting, it is a boost, to your bottom line. It is very, very important to pay attention to all these things. And of course, the golden principle. The golden principle of at reducing cost is good record keeping. I know in many of my videos I've spoken about record keeping. I cannot ever stop emphasizing this. Keep good record. When you keep good record, then you can, in fact, it is good record that will enable you to categorize your cost into controllable and uncontrollable, because you will see the pattern of the cost. You will see what you have done over time. You can notice, okay, this one I can control, this one I cannot control it. And of course, good record also, every aspect of the controllable aspect, good record will help you. Then for instance, good record will tell you, let's me use the example of a baker, that okay, if I buy a 50 kilogram of flour, this is the number of loaves of bread I can achieve from it. Of course, in addition with other ingredients. So maybe you have 2 or shifts of, group of employees. You can compare what the first shift is producing, the yield per the first shift, and the yield per the second shift. And of course, we know that because this one had more experience than the other, that is why their yield is more or is higher than the other one. Then you can find a way of reshuffling them. Maybe you mix some experienced hand with some new hands, so that you don't leave new employees completely to themselves for a complete shift. So all these are things we achieve through record keeping. Without adequate record keeping, you will not be able to do that, because you won't, as far as you are concerned, money comes in and you spend money. Even when you are owing people, or you bought on credit, and the guy say, okay, I'm giving you 15-day credit, but if you pay on by 10 days, I will give you 2% discount. If you don't keep record, you may not even be mindful. Even that 10 days will pass. Even 20 days may pass, and the guy say, this thing is due. So what you are owing me is this. Oh, really? I don't know. I can't remember. But thank God for technology these days. You can program your system to remind you, okay, I'm going to be Mr. B on the next 15 days. Please remind me 2 days. Remind me 5 days, so that I know what to do. Or even some of your accounting software, accounting packages, organization can also tell you and remind you where a debt is due for payment or for collection. So good record keeping is a golden principle to achieve cost reduction. Like I said from the beginning, I am not a fan of cost cutting or cost elimination, but I'm a fan of cost reduction. And cost reduction, I must tell you, require a lot of diligence. Diligence by observing, by recording, by keeping, by analyzing what you have recorded, so that you understand the pattern, the unique pattern of your business. So when you do this, it becomes easier for you to reduce your cost without reducing the quality of your product or your service. Most of them also, what some business owners do is to reduce the quality of what they give to the customer. And over time, the customer will understand, will realize that. And the moment the customer begins to complain about quality, there's every tendency that you will lose that customer. So take time, understand the cost reduction mechanism, break down, categorize your costs into controllable and uncontrollable, and see how you can manage them better. So yes, I'm still your village boy. So till I come your way next time, be rest assured that we are doing this so that your business can become profitable. Thank you.